I'm having the push buttons on YouTube side,
Okay.
and it looks like that's that. What's going on with good old Facebook?
How's it look?
YouTube looks good. I don't see anything on Facebook, but let me log in because I was just looking on the phone. This is why you always test, test, test. And if you get a chance ahead of time to test, 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 it's always a smart idea.
Yes.
So let's go, let's jump into Facebook real quick and hopefully the audio doesn't start playing. Today, get reminder, boost. All right, did I leave that page open? No. So let's go to publishing tools, good old Facebook.
They keep changing everything.
They do, and now they've got you have to go to Creator Studio.
Yes, exactly.
Which I haven't really messed with much at this time.
I've only scheduled a few posts, but you can schedule your Instagram posts, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah. Today at 1:29, let's see what this says. Get reminders today at 4 o'clock. Let me make sure. 2 did not start. 1 is going. 1 is, all right. Yeah, they're both going out. We may not have a Facebook audience today because I don't see an option in the creator.
Maybe it just does it not start? I thought you put it in there already.
Oh, you know what? It might be, I think Facebook doesn't go live until 2 minutes before. So I'm wondering if that's the situation because we still have
2 minutes.
I'm trying to remember if that was Facebook or if it was YouTube that does that. And I'm hoping YouTube is muted, which is good. I'm also, let me test something here. Cancel that. See if we can get a better stream quality. Well, we'll see what happens because it says we're going live in 2 minutes,
2 minutes.
and 4 seconds. Oh, you know what? The preview popped up on Facebook.
Okay, good.
All right, so that worked.
Testing, testing, testing.
Testing, testing. Always makes me a little nervous, folks. This is why you test, test, test. And it's another reason why I like Restream, because once you hit the live button, it just automatically, you get to preset everything up. You can check it out, see how it all works. And then once it's all set up, once you hit the stream button on vMix, it just goes out. Dun, dun, dun.
All the tools and tips and tricks, and we get to talk about all that stuff every week.
Yeah. Do we know what we're talking about today?
Sure we do.
Okay, good.
You're talking about lighting.
I'm going to talk about some lighting here. I'm actually going to add another camera. Why? Because I can.
Oh.
And it's probably a good idea so I can actually show people.
You've got the Pro Studio. I'm just at my house, so.
Throw that little, ooh. It's not the prettiest camera, but it'll work for what we're doing today. All right. We got less than a minute to go.
Woo-hoo!
I think the next ad to the live show is going to be a little bit of music.
Yeah, we got to have dancing in the beginning.
I can hear music in my head, but I don't have anything. We don't have anything playing.
Let's see those dance moves, Ryan. I know you got them. Bust them out. I don't think those are the moves.
Those aren't the moves? Oh my goodness.
I don't think so.
Well, they're the moves today. They are the moves today. All righty. It is the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yay! We've made it. Yay! Welcome everybody to the live show with both Sue and myself, Ryan Perry. Sue, welcome.
Oh, well, thank you, Ryan. Welcome to you.
I feel like I should say that because normally I'm interviewing people and I have to remember on this show it is a tandem and that there's...
It's us.
Yeah, it's us. And you will notice
share.
We get to share, and you have a very purple background. However, you're indoors. I have to show my outdoors real quick without all the overlays, because not only do I have a little bit of purple, but you'll notice the orange. We have a fresh fire going on in Sonoma County. So I haven't added like any special tinting or orange lights for the show. This is just Mother Nature, unfortunately, right now.
It's lovely natural lighting.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So, all right. We're going to talk about stuff today, right?
We are.
Yeah.
You
tell me, what are we going to talk about?
Okay. So you and I were chatting, and we were kind of like, okay, what can we talk about this week that's going to be helpful and some good tips and tricks? And you mentioned lighting, and I said, well, lighting's just lighting, and you could just do that really quick. And you said, oh, no.
Yeah.
I can talk about lighting for hours. So you're going to cover a little bit of lighting based with lighting, because a lot of us are working from home. Am I?
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit.
Am I?
Yeah. For some reason, your signal is a little, it's not very strong this week for some reason. So in the future, we'll have to find a way of hardwiring you so you're not on Wi-Fi, because that's like 101 of live streaming, is always be hardwired. And the reason why is for cases just like this. Now, you did live stream last week wirelessly, same computer, same location, everything was fine. And that is the problem with wireless, is that sometimes it'll be great and other times it'll be cut out. So these are all things that you get to learn and practice, right, folks?
Maybe
as you're doing a live stream. It could be the smoke, yes. It's causing interference.
It could be the air quality.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
So you're going to talk about lighting, and hopefully everybody can still hear me, because I'm actually going to be talking about microphones and speaking in front of a microphone and being comfortable speaking in front of a microphone. So that's what I'm going to be covering. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me.
Hopefully. Right now I show, and just so people know, when I'm looking off to the left, I have another screen over here, and I can see some stats, such as your bandwidth and how well everything's working and your frame rate. So that's what I'm checking. Right now, I show you're in the green. So if you would like to talk, maybe now's a good time to talk about microphones and why sound is so important to a live event.
Yes, sound is so important because you want to be heard. So there are lots of different microphones. Today I'm using, I'll turn it around here, you can see it. Ooh. It's the Blue Snowball. So this big ball, it's kind of, retro, which is kind of fun. And you can use any other microphones. You can get a lot of them on, Amazon. You've got the Mac Daddy.
I've got the Yeti, same brand and manufacturer. However, it's a Yeti, so it comes with a couple extra bells and whistles.
Exactly. So you've got a nice little setup there. A lot of times when we're doing our virtual events, we will, you'll be set up with a microphone, like the regular singing microphone that you would see at a concert or something like that. As a host, you're going to come out and talk to people. And a lot of times people don't know how to handle a mic. They get up real too close like this, or they're putting the mic way down low down there like this, and you can't hear them. So you want to just be a nice distance away, close enough but not too close. Also want to make sure your mic is not covering your face like this, because we want to see you talk. We want to see what you're saying. we see too many people with masks these days anyway, so trying to, lip read makes it a little bit difficult.
It does. I think the other thing is also, I think from a end user point of view, is realizing that when I'm watching, or anybody is watching the video, it's going to be typically, if somebody's speaking, it's really going to be about you. So while, yes, we do want to hear you, however, we really do want to see you because you are speaking. And I think some people, if they're a little bit nervous about being in front of a group, this is kind of a great way to kind of hide from everybody, but just kind of remember who your audience is and what it is that they would hope to see.
Exactly. And this is just like if you were at a live event, speaking on stage. And I'm actually surprised. There are a lot of like amazing professionals that get out on stage with a microphone, and I go, wow, okay, maybe there's some training or something that people could use.
Right.
And one of my biggest pet peeves is when people have a piece of paper. I didn't get the big piece of paper, but get a big piece of paper and they hold it like this.
Yeah.
And they're reading from the paper and they're going to read what they're saying. And oh my gosh, gotta bring that down.
Or you put your notes down here.
Down here, yes. Hold on. Let me read those notes. Let me look at my notes so you can see the very top of my head.
Yes. Is it straight? Hopefully.
Yeah, you're looking good. It's a good hair day, Ryan.
Good. Okay, good.
So I tend to tell people to put things on a 3x5 card, and for sure, make bullet points. I don't know if you can see that or not. Bullet points. Do not write out your speech word for word or type it out and print it word for word, because inevitably, if it is on a page in front of you, you are going to be tempted to read it word for word, especially if you're nervous. There's a big crowd. It's very nerve-wracking for anyone getting up in front of people to speak. And so a lot of times you use that as a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
There is an option if you really feel like you want to read things word for word, or maybe you're hosting and you're doing something where you're required to say things, and the people who are hiring you to be on stage, they want you to say things in a certain way. We can get you a teleprompter. Teleprompter is going to go word for word and line it down, and you're just going to read that and go right through.
Right.
Of course, you should also be very familiar with the script. Don't come in cold and have no idea what is actually on that script. That's going to make it a lot more difficult to read it and have it sound natural.
Yeah, and the great thing is teleprompters, you can get them on Amazon really inexpensively today. They have little ones that are literally for the size of your phone, and then there's teleprompting apps that you can download from, they have free ones and they have $5 ones, but then they have them for iPads. So what I use
I have
here
one for iPad.
Yeah, so the one that I use has an iPad. And what's really nice is there is software where you can actually control the text, because part of it is the scrolling of the text needs to be at the same cadence. And so there may be times that you need to pause because maybe you're going faster than the teleprompter. You wouldn't want to pause, you'd want to speed it up, or vice versa. Teleprompter is going too fast. And then at that point, it's really beneficial to be able to have an app. So there are tools out there. And of course, just like when you stream live, make sure you test, and test again. Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, some of those apps, like you mentioned, that those teleprompters, they will sense the speed of your speech, and it will adjust automatically. Those are some of the really a little high end.
Yeah.
They work great. So I recommend teleprompter if you need to read things and read full sentences. If not, and you know what you're talking about, you get those bullet points, get them on a 3x5 card.
Mm-hmm.
Find out when you are in front of the screen, especially when we're doing this, we're testing, and you find out exactly where's the spot. So, yeah, I think man.
Your stream's struggling a little bit for some reason.
Sorry.
That's all right. We'll go back.
Can you hear me now?
It's always nice when you freeze. Like, hey.
Oh yeah, lovely.
Lovely, yes. So anyhow, you were talking about the placement of the card. It froze a little bit. So if you could kind of re-show that again.
Yeah. So, when you're doing that testing and you're finding out where you're standing, are you standing here? Are you standing here? You're also going to find out, where can you put that card? Where is it? It's right about there. So now if I glance down at my card to see my bullet point, so I know what the topic is, I can look down. Oh, that's my next topic. And now I can keep talking, and I'm not looking down at a script, and you're not looking at that script the whole time. You're looking at that bullet point and then able to look back up, address your audience. So those are
I'm curious, when you do that, I imagine there's a couple things then that are going to be really important. One is the camera shot needs to be static. It can't change. Otherwise, your location changes. And then typically, are you simply holding the card the whole time, or what do you do with it?
You have options. Today, what I'm talking about today is a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I basically am just kind of holding it. And I've got it right here. And when I'm ready, I hold it up. I know where I'm at. I do a glance down and I can go back up. If you've got a whole bunch of cards and things like that, or you've got things sometimes you can put them up on your right next to where your camera is. So it looks like you're looking at the camera while you're seeing those things. But I tend to shy away from that just because when it's right in front of you and you know you have the camera, it's going to be a crutch again. It's going to be that crutch. Right. So trying to make things as easy, authentic, flowing as possible. You know what you're talking about. You shouldn't have to be looking at those cards for every thing.
Right.
I've got a lot of cover to some medical things where there's a lot of material, and you're not going to remember what's first, what's next. But once you know what the topic is, then you can free flow with it and keep going. So,
right. Yeah.
So those are some basics for holding the script, your scripting, all of those kind of things, and then the tone and the volume. We've had people that come to the mic and they want to speak like this, and we can't hear you.
Right.
I'm a loud talker anyway. We all know that.
And the reality is, on the other side, you can only bring the mic levels up so much because you start introducing electrical or background noise as you start bringing mic levels up. So yeah, that's a really good point. Is even if you're timid or you don't feel comfortable speaking up, during that moment in time, just do your best to elevate without yelling, of course.
Well, without yelling. Like I said,
Yeah.
I already have a loud voice, and usually everybody has to bring me down anyway. This is my normal.
How dare they bring you down? I'm going to talk to those people, Sue.
Don't bring me down.
You're always so up.
I am so up, and I'm so loud. But the other thing too with speaking in front of people is how fast are you speaking? A lot of times people want to get through it as fast as possible.
Right.
And they just go quick. And even when you slow yourself down to a level that's probably going to feel very slow to you,
mm-hmm.
It's going to sound normal. And this is part of the testing that you can
sound normal in what way?
At a normal speed.
Oh, okay.
A normal speed. So when you're talking really fast and you're going to go here and then you're going to there and then it's going to go like it's really difficult to keep up and to watch and to listen, so people will tune out.
Right.
And if you're talking really slow and I'm not really sure, oh my goodness.
Yeah. There's actually, trying to remember, I cannot think of the gentleman's name. He was he worked with people, so he helped people out with what they struggled with. And this gentleman ended up living indoors. I forget what type of, he had something, I don't know if it was polio, but he ended up where he couldn't go out and play. Wow. And he was super adapted to people's tone and their cadence. Mm-hmm. And what he learned, he could actually hypnotize people just by the way he talked. And he was somebody who talked really slow, and wow. and I can't quite do it, but he almost kind of mumbled also, and it put the brain into a trance. So if you happen to be one of those people that maybe talks a little slow and you notice people's heads are nodding back, you may be putting them into a trance unintentionally. But just be aware, and I think that's part of, kind of putting a little bit of energy and a little bit of enthusiasm behind your voice, is it actually captures and engages the audience in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. And then also, you kind of talked a little bit about mic location, and I'm just going to kind of, the closer you get, the more, I don't know, bassy, the more natural the sound feels. And then if I actually pull the mic away, so the more distance we have from the microphone, it ends up being more tinny, more airy. Just
Yeah.
it doesn't have the same appeal as having that microphone kind of close. And you were talking about, a handheld mic. I
Yeah.
know, like when I watch people singing, they typically put it right on their lips or right underneath the chin. How close should the top of the mic be?
Well, if you're not comfortable, it depends on the mic itself. There's the ones that have like the hard metal on the top, and then there's
Hmm.
the ones that have like the foam on the top too. I get it pretty close, but you want it close, like you said, kind of almost right here, like almost touching or barely touching,
Right.
but in a way that you can still see your face. And if I mean, you get too far down,
Right.
I mean, again, that becomes a problem from a sound standpoint, and then you're adjusting it, and then then they go like this, and then it's
Right.
wow,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. So finding that happy medium, I think, was part of the testing.
Yeah, and I think lapel mics are nice, and
Yes.
I forget if it's 6 to 8 inches, but kind of do a hang loose, and then
Hmm.
it's a lapel mic should be somewhere in this vicinity. So a lot of times I see people put them too low, or the other issue, and I had this happen on a live stream, and it wasn't our live stream, it was for another client, and his guest had like the earbuds with the mic built in,
Oh, right.
but they had it over their head so they didn't see the cable.
Oh
And
no.
then the mic was on their shoulder. So every time they
Every time they
moved,
moved, yep.
and I'm like, oh, I'm sitting here, I'm listening to it with earbuds in and going, oh. So be aware of technology also, right?
Well, and that's a good point. If you are using a lapel mic that is clipped on,
Mhm.
and you start doing this, or you're fixing your shirt or those kind of things, it is so loud. That microphone is right there. So that's what people are listening to. So if you have a lapel mic, try not to brush against it or move your shirt or do any of those kind of things. So you get some nice clean sound.
Yeah,
So
definitely. All right, wonderful. Any last minute, second tips to lighting
no,
or to
not
sound, I should say?
sound. I don't know.
All
Do
right.
the testing basically.
Do the testing. Perfect.
Testing
Yes.
everything ahead of time.
Otherwise, you'll end up with a live show like today because I don't know what's going on, but even YouTube is telling me, hey, it's not very good signal. So it could be something on
Huh.
my end going on here also. But just so people know, this is part of live. There are going to be the days they're not perfect, and as the old adage goes, the show must go on. So just kind
Yes.
of roll with it, and that things in life don't have to be perfect. And in fact, there's a coach that I watch and I listen to, and I don't remember anyway. He says he doesn't want to be perfect. So when he does something, he lets the bumbles go in. If some
Right.
technology mishap, he lets it go because he doesn't want to be perceived as, oh, you're this expert and you're way up here and I can never achieve that. It's
Right.
human to be imperfect.
Yes.
So embrace your humanness. Obviously, don't put on a crappy show, but embrace the humanness and the fact that live is live, and just kind of rock and roll and go with the flow again.
Well, I like the
So,
authenticity of it because,
yeah.
like you said, we are all human.
Yep.
We're all doing the best we can. Of course, we're trying to make sure that we are doing the testing. We're making sure everything works. And as you and I have talked about many times, you test everything, it works great, and then
Yeah.
whoops, something happens. And like
Yep.
you said, you just got to roll with it and figure it out. So
Yeah. Perfect. All right.
yeah.
So let's talk about lighting. If you could do me a favor, I'm curious, is it easy enough for you to turn that light off behind you? I know you got to take your earphones off. So I'm going to go to my screen here. Whoops. I got to bring myself up and go to my screen here while you do that. So a couple of things about lighting is there are a couple of things that you want to do with lighting. One of them is going to be actually having light land on your face. So I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see, especially people on Zoom, is they sit like I am with a window behind them. But if it's bright out and they don't have any curtains or shades down, you have all of this light. And if you imagine, if you point a flashlight behind my head, it's going to create this huge shadow and a darkness. And some real basic terminology for cameras is that they're essentially trying to balance all the light that comes in. So all the black, all of the whitish colors. I've got some silver. I've got a light. It's always backwards on my screen. Got a light. I can't even point the right direction.
Over there, the other way.
Oh, anyway. Over here, somewhere, over, there it is, right there. I got some white. So cameras are trying to balance all of that. They don't want the white to be super white, and they don't want the dark blacks to be super black, because there's no information in pure white. There's no color value in pure white, and then there's no color value in pure black except for black. And so what a camera does is it tries to balance the 50%. So if you have a lot of bright light coming in, it's trying to balance that with the shadow that's on your face, so you're going to be naturally dark. Now, in the case with the office here, what I did is I actually put limo tint on the windows. And that's how I'm able to, especially on a bright sunny day, with a south-facing window, so the sun is literally behind me, I'm able to actually put light on myself, and I plug in. I was
going to say you also add in
the
front light for
so
even
I've
better
got
light.
my little C90, my little webcam, so I'm going to bring that up real quickly and try not to have anybody have a stroke. By the way, this is the back end of what everything looks like. This in front of me, directly in front of me, is the camera. So you'll notice that the main light, I've got 4 fluorescent type of bulbs that are in there, and these are set to daylight value. And that's really important because my actual ceiling lights, you see the fluorescence in the ceiling, those have a different color value. Those would look more orange. And then I have another accessory light that is set to the same color value, Kelvin. It's measured in Kelvin. We don't need to get into the details. But the reason why I do that is so that the light that's coming over the camera and it's falling onto my face, that light is all the same value. So if I were to step over and turn my overhead lights in, that's where you've heard of white balance. And white balance is going to affect the actual color. And this is really what it looks like outside right now. I did not change the white balance to try and make the sky blue or anything, because then my face would look horrible. The other thing that we're doing with lighting is that I want to have the light fall on, but you notice there's a little bit of a shadow on my face. So one of the things that I don't have is I don't have harsh light. And so one of the things we're always talking about is making sure that you diffuse your light. And so here's what harsh light looks like. And so we never want to have a light like right there on us. Otherwise, it just doesn't look good. And you don't want a light just off to the side. It causes what we call hot spots, which they don't look natural. And so, Sue, you don't actually have any lights on where you're at, but you have windows.
Well, I actually have some lights on.
Oh, do you?
I do have windows, but because it's actually dark today.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, normally I would be using more window lighting.
Okay.
But I do have a few lights on, but they're not fluorescent. They're softer bulbs, which I needed a little bit, but I don't have the full setup like you do in your studio. I'm just at home, so trying to do the best I can with what we got going on outside.
And what a difference it makes just having that uplight. So that little purple uplight that you have on the floor just adds a little bit of dimension, and it's nicely done, because right now it looks like you're on a Zoom call, And it's like,
right?
oh, look at
I'm gonna go
me, I'm
change
at
it again.
home, yay.
I'll
What's
go
that?
turn it on.
Yeah,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead
turn
and
it
turn
on
it
again.
on. Yeah, let's see what it looks like again. And while she's doing that, you'll kind of notice the difference that it makes and the the overall kind of look of the site. Now, right now, it's a little bit brighter down at the base if we look at it. So these would be things, we'd want to tone it down a little bit. And then it's interesting the shadows that it's creating with the overhead lights on the hutch.
Right.
But it's a big difference, especially here where you're cropped in. It is a big
Exactly.
difference for the overall. And even on mine, if I'm going to go full screen without the overlay, you can see over here I've got a little bit of purple also. So I have an uplight that is on a light stand that's just shining onto the wall. So that's what I do, just adding a little bit of, it's like if you were going to eat a morsel, it's like a little morsel for your eyes instead.
It's salt. It's salt and
Yeah,
pepper.
yeah.
It's salt and pepper
You're
for
you're
your
adding a
meal.
little seasoning to
It's
the
like,
look. In
yeah,
fact, if I move out of
it's
the way,
good.
you
Oh,
can
there it
see the
is.
reflection of my tall, skinny LED. So I have to keep my head in the center to block that reflection. So other than that, the other thing is, you notice I had one light in front of me. I also have another light that's up a little bit. If I really wanted to go over the top, I would have another light that's called a hair light that would come
Mm.
down. And what that does is it separates the person, the subject, which in this case is me. So if I go to just me, it kind of separates all of this from the background. And that's how we create kind of this depth of field. And the other thing that you can do, and has to do with cameras more than lighting, is if you use a DSLR like I am and you go with a low F value. So I'm running, I think, at 1.8 right now or 2.0, and that kind of you get that bokeh effect in the background, and that just kind of softens things up and it helps bounce the individual. It makes them kind of pop off the screen, and that's a combination of lighting and then also which camera lens that you use. And to me, this looks pretty natural. I mean, if I really wanted to get picky, I could go in and do some color adjustments because the light that's coming in behind me is a little
Yeah.
wonky today. But for me,
Yeah.
I think it's
No.
pretty sharp. And again, it's just, I've got two, let me pull this up again. I've got two lights. One's a big box light that is got a, where's the finger? I got a little bit of a diffuser fabric on it. And then this one over here is actually an LED. Can't see, but there's a bunch of little, I don't know if I can get it. No, won't do it. Um, so, and then if you're kind of curious, let's see, let me do this. We were talking about how different, notice how sharp the background is and how shaky my hand
Mm.
is. This just makes a difference, and I look really washed out right now.
Yeah, you do.
So let me go back to here because this looks so much better.
It
And that
does.
that is that's really the difference that good lighting's going to help. It's going to help you look professional, and then having a good quality microphone that you're speaking into correctly is going to help you sound professional. And I don't know, I mean, obviously you come from the radio, so you may put more emphasis on this, but I know they say audio and video is it like 50 or 60% of the value of the overall
Of
thing?
what?
Any
What? Of
ideas?
the event? Of what? I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
well, it's kind of like if we were to say, okay, you create a video visually, what percentage is most important? If you had great visuals and crappy
Oh, right.
audio, would people go, oh my gosh, that's okay? Or if you had great audio and crappy visuals, would people go, that's easier to digest or watch or
I don't.
listen
That's
to?
a good question. That's actually a good question for people to answer
Yeah,
in our feed. What do
yeah.
you think is more important? If it was a marginal video, I mean, I've got a crappy camera. I still need to upgrade. So
Still need to
I
upgrade.
kind of have. I still need to upgrade. I still
Yep.
have a crappy camera on my computer.
Yep.
So
We're waiting for
and
that ATEM Mini by Blackmagic to show up so we can get your camera hooked up.
yay.
Yay.
And so, is it really annoying that it's a crappy video quality, or is it better to have the audio? On this old computer with this old camera, I the built-in speaker is blown out.
Right.
So we try to play videos to share with each other, and you're like, no, you can't do it on your. It's terrible. I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I know that's big. So I don't know. I would like to hear what other people have to say.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. That's a great question to pose to those who are watching or will be watching.
Yes, exactly.
So, all right, perfect. Is there anything you feel I may have missed as far as lighting that is beneficial?
I don't know. We can talk another time when we talk about lighting for green screens.
Ooh, green screens.
That's a whole different story.
That's a whole nother kit and caboodle, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun, but a lot of people are interested in it, especially with the auto green screen that Zoom has. And Zoom's green screen is actually pretty good as long as you have good contrast between your background and whatever you're wearing. So as an example, I'm wearing black right now, and I'm just going to go into this real quickly. If I brought my mic in, Zoom's not going to be able to really tell the difference between my shirt and the mic. And so it's going to be hard for it to cut that out. However, if I had a bright sunny day and there was a lot of bright light, it gives good separation between my mainly dark hair. I got a lot of silvers coming in. And it actually, I was really impressed when we started using Zoom all the time, how well it does the green screen. But at the same time, you've seen where it's like splotchy and ear gets cut off.
Exactly.
Hair, part of the head gets chunked out. And typically it's because there's a similar color next to it. And Zoom is just automatically, their algorithm is trying to cut everything out. So anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
We're going to have a whole nother episode on green screens.
Yeah, definitely. But I think for today, because we're at our half-hour mark, so we're going to call it for today's show. However, if you have any questions or comments about the show, if there's something you feel like we did not cover and you have a question, feel free to leave a comment below. We're really pretty good at responding. Not always right away because we don't work 24/7. However, we do want to reach out, engage, and help people in the live streaming, the virtual event process. That's why we're taking the time to actually create these, is to help people. So we always appreciate people's comments, feedbacks, likes, subscribes, all that, click the bell, all the stuff, you already know what to do anyway. Yeah.
And don't forget, we do this weekly, so we'll be back next Tuesday at 4 p.m.
At 4 p.m. on ideally both Facebook and YouTube.
Yes, ideally.
Assuming the technology works correctly. Because right now, I show everything is like, we're chugging along really good right now.
So we're going to find out what's going to happen next.
Yeah, find out what happened next. All right, Sue, until next time.